Hello there, my name is Christopher Scott, and I serve as the senior pastor at Lakeview Missionary Church in Moses Lake, Washington. In this video, I want to talk about Paul's gospel preparation. Paul's gospel preparation. I'm going to be in the book of Galatians, chapter 1, verses 16 through 19, talking about how Paul prepared for a brief time and got ready to share the gospel. So I want to read this to you. Galatians chapter 1, verses 16 through 19. He says, I might start with 15 actually. Let me start with 15. He writes, But when God, who had set me apart even from my mother's womb, and called me through his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son in me, so that I might preach him among the Gentiles, I did not immediately consult with flesh and blood, nor did I go to Jerusalem to those who were apostles before me, but I went away to Arabia, and returned once more to Damascus. Then 3 years later I went up to Jerusalem to become acquainted with Cephas, and stayed with him 15 days. But I did not see any other of the apostles except James, and the Lord's brother. Paul makes three main points here that he's talking to the Galatians about. And he's trying to combat these people that I call legalizers or Judaizers that were telling the Galatians Paul was not a true apostle. They were telling the Galatians that Paul was not appointed by God to share the gospel. Instead, he was appointed by men. And Paul is trying to combat that here, and he does that in three main ways in these verses. Actually, four, I guess, but three. He says, first, he didn't immediately consult with humans. This is right after his experience meeting Jesus on the road to Damascus. And he says in verse 16, I didn't go meet with the Jerusalem apostles immediately. I didn't go meet with men immediately. I didn't immediately consult with, he calls it, flesh and blood. Second, he says he didn't go to Jerusalem. He didn't go up to Jerusalem, which was the center of Christianity. He didn't go talk to them. He didn't go, get direction from them. Instead, third, he goes away to Arabia. And here in Galatians, verses 16 and 17 and 18 and 19, where it talks about Arabia, we don't have this information anywhere else in the Bible. But this visit to Arabia does occur in Acts chapter 9, between verses 22 and 23. That's when he makes this visit to Arabia. But what was he doing there? He likely just wanted to get away from Israel and be alone with the revelation he had received from Jesus Christ. Maybe he went to Mount Sinai, because that's where Arabia was. It covers the Sinai Peninsula in the south to Damascus in the north. He might have went to Mount Sinai, where God had given the law to Moses, and then he pondered this revelation that Jesus Christ had given him. Could be an idea. Or Paul simply just wanted to get away and be alone with his thoughts and his experiences. Or perhaps he was out there and even got further revelations from Jesus Christ. But what we do know is that this was a period of time of preparation for him. Then in verses 18 and 19, he says that he goes up to Jerusalem. He went there briefly to visit. This is 3 years after his conversion. He goes to Jerusalem. And he makes this visit with Peter. In my Bible, the NASB calls him Cephas, which is the Aramaic name for Peter. And he makes this 15-day brief visit to get acquainted with Peter. And you can read about this visit in Acts 9, 26 through 30, where Peter does not commission Paul. Peter does not give Paul the ability to be an apostle or anything. Paul seems to be recognized as an apostle as soon as he gets there. And you can read that in Acts 9, 26 through 30. They had been given this gospel. Paul had been given this gospel from Jesus Christ, and he simply goes to Peter just to meet Peter and get acquainted with him. There they probably talked about each man's Christian experience, as well as maybe Paul wanted to learn more about Jesus Christ since Peter spent 3 years with him. And then also in verse 19, Paul mentions this brief visit with James, the Lord's brother. And it's told in a way to kind of make it just as a quick, hi, hello, good to see ya visit. There's not this big ordeal. Again, the emphasis that Paul wants to make here is that he is an apostle appointed by God. He has received the gospel directly from Jesus Christ. He didn't get his authority from the apostles. So thanks for watching this video on Galatians. If you found this video helpful and would like to get updates on future videos when I post them, you can subscribe to my email list. Down there, the first comment, there's a link where you can subscribe, and I promise I only send you one email per month. And in that email, I give you the newest articles I've had published, as well as the gospel tracts that I've had published and my new videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon on another video.